Hello and welcome back. I'm very glad to have you guys here today, and we'll be building a Travellian kind of application. And so the way it works, it's very easy, and there's some cool stuffs associated with it, which I'll be showing you guys. And all right, as you can see, we basically have like the hero section, right, and then we have this kind of background kind of hero that we have here. So I've actually went ahead to build this out customly without using any form of package, because this was, I think, the only like elegant way I could achieve this, which is very cool, which I'll show you guys. And also you can actually play around with some of the, there's actually an autoplay feature, as well as being able to control it with all of these controls, right? So I can actually click on here. You can see we have a couple of them. Click on it again, click on it again. It's going to just move it. And there's actually an autoplay feature. When you refresh the page, you should see that, right? I'm not going to do that now, but when you do it, you're going to see the autoplay feature. All right. So when you scroll down, there's actually a section for you to select, the destination, select the number of persons that's going with you on your trip, and select the check-in date as well as the checkout date, right? And then you can book. So now we're going to obviously like scroll down. You can see this is actually coming nice and clean. This is done using Figma motion to basically animate in. And this is definitely our popular destination section, right? I just scroll down, you can actually see the other part animated as well, coming in nice and clean. And also we have the blog section right here, very neat, right? So we have all the images coming in nice and clean. So now the interesting part, one of the interesting parts is the trip planner section, right? So when I hover over each of these cards, you see the magic happens, right? So there are a lot of things going on there, but I'm going to show you how you can do something like this using Figma motion. So it's very easy for you to do, and it's just like few lines of code, to be honest, and you can achieve this kind of cool effect, right? So yeah, this is the part I'll be showing you guys how to achieve. So I scroll down, you can basically have the destination section, right? You can see how it's coming in nice and clean. And then we have the traveler's experience. I call this the testimonial section, right? So this is where people that are reviewing the app basically just come in here to review, right? Then we have the newsletter, and finally we have the footer. So this app will not be complete without us going into the mobile part of our point of view. So I'm just going to obviously stop this view so you guys can concentrate on this. I'm going to close this out as well. Yeah, this is the mobile view. Just going to scroll up. Now this is the mobile view. You can see we have a very cool hamburger icon. So you can click on it. You can see it coming as expected, right? You might want to play around with the over effect if you want. That should actually be white, so I think I will update that, right? So close that out, scroll down. You can actually see we have everything in a different position, right? Which is very different from what you see in the desktop view. So now we have the popular destination. This is how it looks on mobile, which is so good, looking so clean. Special offer. So this is how it looks on mobile. Nice. And also we have the trip planner that was actually animated on the desktop view that I showed you earlier. But when I check it out on mobile, you can see, boom, it's still there. Nice, right? So everything, each of the cards is well animated, looking so clean, right? So also with all of this, right? So mobile, you see how well it just overlaps, which is actually unexpected, right? So then we have the testimonial section, we have the newsletter section, and then we have the footer section. Right, so this is exactly what we'll be building today. Kindly join me on this journey as we build out this cool layout. Yeah, thank you guys, and let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to build this up. So this is actually the design that we have, and what we want to do is to go through some of the the things that we'll be needing in terms of proper project setup and stuff like that. So now I'm going to go over to the repo. So this is a repo link, right? You can see we basically have two branches, the main branch and the starter branch. So in your case, you have to be focusing on this starter branch, right? So what I'm going to do, I need to clone this repository, and the way I do that, I'll just go over to this green button and then copy this clonable link. So when you have that copy, you want to just open up like a folder, right? I'm just going to go to YouTube project. So in here, I'm going to open up my terminal. And in this terminal, I'm going to use the command git clone, then paste in the URL I just copied, right? Hit enter. This is going to clone this repository into our local file, right? This is our local folder. So yeah, let's say, okay, that's clone now. We can seed into the repository. So seed into Travelern, I think, right there. So now we are in the main branch. In your own case, you want to do git checkout, right, starter, right? So for you to be on the starter branch, then you can follow up the tutorial from there. But in my case, I'm already working on the main branch, so I just want to make sure that I'm changed to the main branch. Okay, very good. So now we want to install all our developmental dependencies, and the way we do that, we can actually just use npm install to install all of our dev dependencies. So it's going to take a while, and we'll just wait for it to quickly install those dependencies. Alright, very good. So yeah, we've got some sort of high level vulnerability. So when you normally have something like this, just use this command for the most part. So I'm just going to copy that and use it. So yeah, I think when you do this, you're going to stop having issues like that, right? So you just give it a while for it to basically implement, and after that, we're just going to continue to the next section of this tutorial, right? Okay, there you go. Now we basically fix that issue, and we should be finding like the vulnerabilities as the case may be. Alright, so that's good. And the next thing we do at this stage is to obviously just spin up our development server by doing the npm run dev command. Right, so while we're doing that, I can as well just open up my VS Code right here. Yeah, so I have everything now opened within the VS Code editor. And so first, when I see a project like this, what I normally do is to grab the font, right? So let's see the font that's been used. I want to select this first one. We're using Playfair Display, right? Playfair Display font. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to check Google font for that. Google font, Playfair Display. Okay, so we have Playfair. Yes, so I think that should be Playfair Display, by the way. So let's see. This is it, Playfair Display. Okay, so we just like to open it out. So there we go. So this is actually the name of this font, which is very good. So this is the font that we'll be needing. So I didn't notice that when you hover over other parts of the application, like this part, you see Rubik. Right, so I already have Rubik font opened. So what I'm going to do, we're going to set up our Next.js to be able to use those fonts. So I go to Tailwind, not Tailwind per se, go to source, go to app, go to layout.tsx. In here, we'll see that it's already pre-configured to use Inter font. Right, so now the thing is, we have most of our titles in Playfair, and we have like the sub description, like all this one, in the other part, right? So this one is Rubik. So we should use Rubik as our actual font. So probably we'll change our title to use the Playfair Display, right? So that's something we'll be doing. And the way we'll go over that is to just come in here and change this to Rubik. There we go, Rubik. So Rubik, we can put it here, right? So here, just do Rubik, and here put Rubik the class name. Very good. So now we have to worry about the width for Rubik. So Rubik only has all of this specified with starting from 300 all the way to to 900 basically. So we're going to obviously just copy all of this, right, and place them here. Just place them there, and then change all these pipes to comma, right, and yeah, we should be able to have a very good setup for the rubric font. Now we've set up the rubric. So now there's something else I would want to obviously set up, and that should be, wherever you are using the titles, you want to make sure that you are bringing in the, what's it called, the playfair font, right? So you are bringing in the playfair font. So what we're going to do in that case is to define the playfair somewhere else, right? So I'm just going to create a kind of library, maybe under utilities, it's fine. So I'm just going to define this font within it. I just first of all import it right here on top. So we import it, and this is going to be playfair. So playfair display, there we go. These are fonts. So now we basically have to set up these fonts like this, right? So it's going to be like this. So playfair display. So let's just call it playfair for simplicity. So the width of the playfair is actually from 400 to 900, which is understandable. So it doesn't have 300. So yeah, so since we have it this way, we can be able to just export const playfair, right? So we can now use this playfair within any component we are interested in. So it's easy for us to basically use it in those components, right? Good. So now we've set up the font, and when we obviously just refresh, open that our server is up and running. So let's check it out. So I think it's trying to compile. We'll give it a couple of seconds, and that should be done. Okay, there we go. You can see that our font has taken the rubric font kind of pattern. So how do I know this? I can just right click on this, inspect, and go over to maybe this one, right? Let's go over to this class name that you see there. Class name, you can see we're now using a rubric font right here. So we're using a rubric, which makes sense, and everything we're doing now is actually of the rubric font. Right, so which makes quite a lot of sense. So now that we actually have a couple of all of this already set up, we just need to focus now on the critical part of things, which has to do with exporting our assets and defining our color schemes. Right, so let's start with defining our color schemes. So now we've already said that we have a primary color for this project, and that primary color is actually this one, because it's used. This actually looks more like the brand color to me. So it's used here, it's used here, it's used partly here, it's used here, it's used in most part of the application of the landing page. Right, so I'm going to have this selected, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy that and go to my tailwind.config file. Under the extend block, I'm going to create the colors field. Right, so in this colors field, I'm going to obviously just add a couple of things. So let's call this primary. Right, so this is going to be primary. I'm just going to use hash there. Right, and that will be our primary color, right? So we have a bunch of whites. So we have something like bluish dark something. So yeah, so this will be our bluish dark color. So I'm just going to put comma there and call this bluish dark. Right, so that should be fine. Yes, don't forget to add the hash here. Alright, very good. We have a bluish dark, and if I can see, this is the primary color, which makes sense. So the primary colors that we have, and so on, right? So most of this is just a combination of the primary color, and also this text color. This will be our text color. That's fine. Okay, so let me see if it's the same thing with this. I think it's kind of different. This looks darker, but this one looks grayer. Okay, so we're going to do two things. We can do text dark. Right, text. Okay, so let's do this one first. So this one will be text gray. Right, so that would be our text gray. And the other thing now is the other one, right? So now we already have the text gray. Let's look for the text dark, right? Which I think is this one. So I'm going to select this. So this will be our text dark, right? So this looks very much like this, which is bluish dark. What about this? Oh, it's the same thing as that. Okay, so we'll just use text dark or custom dark. Custom dark, then we can take this off. That makes it really consistent. Yeah, we can just call it custom gray, so it's fine. Okay, so I think with that we are good with the colorings. So the next thing we have to focus on is the assets. So we'll try to basically like export our asset now, starting from the logo down to all the assets we might be having, in the footer, right? So let's go. I'm going to zoom in. So I'm just going to select this one and go to export and preview. Make sure it's coming in as expected, and export the logo. Right. So for some weird reason it's actually zipped. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to extract it here. I'm using WinRAR, by the way. It's a free tool you can use. And I'm just going to get the logo. So this is actually our logo. I'm just going to just drag it and drop it outside, right? So let's drag it, cut it, and we're going to put it here. So maybe I'll just delete those. So this is our logo. So I'm just going to rename it to logo. That's fine. And what else? We have this image here, right? This huge image. So yeah, let's see if we can export it. So if we want to export it, it's like we're exporting it alongside the text. But what I normally do is I will just use a package, right? Let me do that real quick. Right click on there. I have a plugin. It's called Export Original Images, right? So I'll just have it clicked. So it's going to load up. And when that happens, I'm just going to make sure I select the image frame. So whatever we have here, we need a way to be able to communicate with the inner image itself, right? So, and that should be this one, right? So this is the image. So yeah, so this image now is already, I think, selected, but let's export and see. Okay, we click on that, we're not seeing anything. That's weird. Okay, so we're not actually clicking on the image, on the image itself, right? So we need that to be able to function. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this content around a little bit, right? So I just make a duplicate by hitting the Alt and dragging it far apart, and I'm just going to remove all of this from here. So what I would do now is to select all of this. So if I select this, I should be able to see. Right, I don't know if it's grouped, maybe just ungroup it. Okay, so I did. Okay, ungrouping just made it disappear, which is very weird. So let's have it selected. Right, so it's very sad that I can't see the actual image, to be honest. Okay, so let's see. Auto layout. Okay, if I try to export this one now. Okay, so I think I have the image, but let's see. Very good. So this is the actual image. All right. So now this is the hero image. I'm just going to make sure I edit that. So let's change to hero image. Okay, so now this is actually like 11 MB. This is the last thing we'll be doing, right? So yeah, I normally use this platform called Squash to reduce the size of any image, right? But this actually, as you can see, is just 11 MB, which is way too large. If you put this within our page, it's going to just slow down to the barest speed, right? So we don't want that. So I drag it into here. So I just want, so you can see we've been able to reduce 11 MB to about 861 kilobyte, right? You can see there's no more changes in terms of quality, right? You can see this is actually the original image, right? So this is the transformed or the modified image, right? So you can see we just have 836, which is okay, right? Just go in there and delete this one, which is way too much. So now we have this, which is fine. Okay, so now what else do? We can actually remove this as we already have that image. What other thing is important we can worry about, right? Okay, so I think apart from there, we can worry about this and this, but we can build this off ourselves. We can build it basically with a div. So now let's export all of this image. Select this one out. So this is the content, this one, I will selected. Now let's export. So I might take a couple of seconds, but it's almost very fast. So I'm still waiting for it to export. Let's check it out again. Images zip. Alright, so let's zip it. Okay, so you can see we have, I don't know why we're having two, maybe double for some weird reason. It's supposed to be one, but yeah, so this is the actual image. I can open it up for you to see. Yeah, this is the original image. Good. So now we are just going to take this one and drag it into, cut it and put it in here. So here, this is going to be our first, what section is this? This destination, right? So popular destination, so we can just do PD. We can do PD1. So let's delete any other one that is not important. So let's select the other one. Let's export. Okay, so wait for it to export. Here we go. Go in, grab it, come to downloads, paste it in there. This one will be PD_2. Okay, so this one we export. Alright, so we export it, we'll wait for it to be exported. Okay, seems to be still booting. So let's wait a bit. There we go. This one will be PD_3. So let's see. Alright. Okay, so this will be PD_3, PD_3. So we'll delete the images, and I think we still have one here, so we have to export that one as well. Okay, download blocked. Oh, that's weird. Allow multiple, yeah, done. That's the reason why we've been having those issues. So let's export it again. I just click on export. So we should have something here in no time. Yeah, so let's see. Right, there we go. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to grab this one and take it to downloads. Alright, so this will be PD_4. Alright, and then I'll remove it. So you can actually see how large all of these images are. So we have 13 MB, we have like 3 MB, we have 15 MB, right? Which is so outrageous. So yeah, what we're going to do is to go over to the Squash app. Let's click this out. Right, so we're also going to drop the one of 15 MB into it. This one. Let's drop it in here. Let's see what it was able to get us. Right, so this is 15 MB by the way. So let's see. You can see from 15 MB we're able to bring it down to about 900 KB, which is fantastic, right? So you can see the quality. This is the after. This is the before. Right, you can see the quality is like almost the same. Right, so let's download the the main copy. So yes, there we go. We can now delete this one, right? So now let's do the same thing for this one of 13 KB. We drag it in. All right, so it's trying to process it, and now from 13 MB we have 700 KB, which is decent to be honest, right? So what we're going to do is to delete the existing one. So now we have it. We'll be able to break them down into some pieces. And then we have the PD4, so let's refactor that one. Yes, we have it, this one to be 500, which is fine. Yeah, so yeah, from 8 KB to 500, that is perfect. So we have PD2, so let's bring it in. From 3 MB to 205 KB. So that is what I call fantastic. Alright, so there. Alright, so that is what we'll do. So we just delete that one. So this hero image, we've already done this before, but let's try to drag it in. I don't think it will change much. So it's still much the same, so we can let it be. And yeah, so I think we basically have like some of the images like optimized now, right? So yeah, we'll just account for all of them because in due time, this actually contributes to how fast our page load, right? That's why it's actually like important to keep note of them while you're actually building out the landing page and stuff like that. So these are just like critical optimizations you should take into account. Okay, so let's do this one. This one is actually under the special fast section. You can do SO. So I export. Okay, so there we go. Sorry, there we go. So this is one. We can do SO_1. This is 18 MB. You can see how large that is. It's going to refresh this. This will be SO_1. So let's select this one. Export. This will be SO_2. And lastly, we have the SO_3. Okay, so now we already have those here. So what I normally do, now that we have all of them, which is good, which is fantastic, what about these stars? Yeah, so we can actually just pick out all of this if we want to. Not really a thing because we're not making them like dynamic or anything. So we can grab all of them, group them, and just export them as an image for now. So yeah, so we'll just have this one as you can call this whatever, but then it will be ours. Cut it, go to downloads, paste it in here. I'm just going to rename this to star group. Star group. Alright, and alright, so then let's go back to optimizing what we have, right? So what we're going to do with the optimization point of view is all of this, right? I think let's sort them by the size. Sort by the size. Okay, so we'll have the bigger ones first. So all right, let's go to here and let's open up our folder, and so this SO1, let's drag it in. So yeah, so from 18 MB, let's see if we can cut some slack. From 18 MB to 1, that was like 19 MB to be honest. But now we're able to reduce it to like 1 MB, which is fantastic. Yeah, so I don't know if we could use the PNG. PNG is always like big, you know, always larger. So like just keep an eye out for this size. Let's see if it changes for the better. But if it doesn't, we just have to take it back to JPEG, right? We have to do that. Okay, so it seems to be having some network issues. Okay, maybe I'll just, you know, refresh this. Let's do it again. Okay, wait a moment. And then, alright, we can just have that. Yes, sure. So remove this one. So the one of 4 MB, let's drag it in here. Very good. This SO3, we remove that. The one of 3 MB, we drag it in here. 1 KB, fantastic. Right, so come in here, we remove it. And there we go, right? So yeah, these are all the transform version of all of these images, which is okay, that's fine. So then let's get a blog image, which is this one. So we're just going to select it, then click on export. Okay, there we go. So this would be the blog. This, for some weird reason, is actually like very large. So let's bring it in here. So that's like 7 MB. We're able to put it under 600 KB, which is fine. Okay, very good. Alright, so let's scroll down. What else do we need? Okay, now on that trip planners, we have a couple of images here. So here we have this one, we have this, like 4 different images. So let's see how we can quickly break them into order, right? So let's select this, export. Okay, so this one would be trip balance, use the TP_1. Okay, so the second one, okay, I think there we go, this one. Oh, it's not that one. So let's see. Oh, this one, yes. So this one is TP_2. This one should be TP_3. Now, so let's export the last one, and this should be TP_4. Okay, so now we already now have all of those 4 images, right? So I think the good thing about it, what we're going to do when we're implementing, so when they click on, like, you know, when they click on or when they overwrite it, it's going to just go up and have the text appear right from the under. I think that would be a very good transition. So we'll see exactly how we can use Figma motion to basically achieve that kind of, you know, animation, right? So we're looking forward to that. All right, so let's go over to the other one. So I think before we do this, we can as well just optimize the images we have so far. I'm just going to refresh and reload this, and you can see we have like a bunch of them. So So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to Squash. Let's clean it out. So let's start from the top. Let's drag and drop this one here. Okay, so that's like 1.4. Alright, so let's remove this. This one will drag it in here. Okay, so let's save that. Can remove this one. Drag this one in here. Okay. So drag this one in. Okay, then we can remove this. So yeah, that's good enough so far. Let's go on. So this is, we're under now the destination gallery, and we have, I think, 4 images. Right, let's see how we can basically like export all of this. And yeah, let's say it. So select this and export. This will be DG_1. So DG_1. Select the second one, export. So DG_2. Okay, so let's grab the third one, export. So this is DG_3, and finally the fourth one, export. Yeah, this will be our DG_4. So I'm just going to reload this to make sure that the larger ones are actually on top. So now that we have this, let's go back to Squash. Just going to do this here, bring this here. Right, so that's fine. I'll put it here. So this first one is this, right? I can just maybe minimize this a little here. Very good. So this is this. So I can just drag this into here. Oops, that's a dramatic moment right there. Yeah. So let's export this. Very good. So we can delete the first one. DG4. Let's minimize you. This will reduce to about 400, which is fantastic. Right. So let's do DG3. Okay, that was reduced to about 400 again, which is good. DG1 reduced to about 200, which is awesome. Okay, so I think now we basically have like the critical images here. So what we want to do is to just grab all the images we need within the testimonial section. So the way we go about this is it's still very easy. So click it out. So this package, this plugin is wonderful. So you just have to select it and then click on export. So it's just going to do all the crazy stuff for you. So this is the actual image of that person, and we're just going to call this one these testimonials here. So we could just say T_1 or something. So I'm just going to rename that to T_1. Okay, so we're going to export this one too. So this should be T_2. So this will be T_3, which should be the last one. Okay, so yeah, so I think with that we basically have like all the important assets. And the one we don't have so far can actually just be, we already have this one, the logo. So we can use the same logo here as well. But this looks a little bit smaller. So maybe we can just have this one as the footer logo. So export. Alright, let's go down the rabbit hole and call this out. Go to downloads, paste it in here. Okay, we already have a logo. So what we're going to do, compare it for both. I'm just going to continue. We need both, so it's fine. So I'm going to do this one. We're going to rename it and call it the footer logo. Right, so that's fine. And also we have some social medias icons here, which I think we might be needing. So I'm just going to select this one. This is Facebook, so I'm just going to click on export here on the Figma and export this. So this one will be our Facebook icon. So I'm just going to go down here and take it to downloads. Alright, so the other one is Pinterest, or whatever it's called. Right, so let's go to export. Let's take this to downloads. So then that should be Instagram, if I'm right. Right, there it is. Let's open it up. Now this would be Instagram. Right, and finally we have Twitter, but now X, by the way, but it's fine, it's an old project. So let's export it and let's go down within it. Okay, so let's grab it from there by using the Ctrl X command. I want to go to downloads and we'll just paste it in here. So meanwhile, that's actually all the assets. So what we want to do is to just obviously just rename this, but I don't like the fact that there's a space in between the text, the title. So I'll just take those out and we should be good. So yeah, so we have all of them now, I think, and we can also just take out all of these. And Twitter, we have to take off the space right there. Okay, so now I think these are all the image assets that we might be needing. And then yeah, so next up, we just want to start building out the actual component. All right, yes, see you there. Okay, so there we go. So let's build out the navigation here. So this is where we are starting out from. So we'll build our navigation, then we'll just move on. Right, so yeah, so before that we need to understand the different structure of the application. So we have the desktop view, we have like some of the tablet view, and also the mobile view. Right, so this is something we'll be trying as much as possible to replicate. Right, so this is how our mobile view should definitely look like. Right, something like we have here. Right, so yeah, so that makes sense. So let's go into here and basically structure our project to follow similar pattern. Right, so I'm just going to clear the terminal here, use the clear command and run the dev again. Very good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to components. I'm going to go to create a new folder, call it sections, and I'm going to go in here again and just create a new folder and call cards. Right, so here we have the sections, we have the cards. So in the sections part, we have the hero section. So I'm just going to create a new file. I call it the hero section. Yes, let's improve the font a bit so you guys can see. So yeah, that's the hero section, which is good. And after the hero section, we have the popular destination section. Just going to create a new file and call this popular destination section. .csx. Okay, so then we have a special alpha section, right? And also we have the block section. So let's do that. Sorry, CE. There we go. Right. And also we have the trip planner section. So let's create that. So we have a trip planner. Miss the E section. Then we should be good. Yeah. Very good. So RCE, streamline section. So then we have the destination gallery section. These are very similar. I notice that their title, but not all though. But I think this destination gallery, our blog, as well as popular destination are using the same headers. So it will be easy for us to just put those within a reusable component, right? And yeah, I think it will be convenient that way, right? So then we have a destination gallery section. So let's do that. Okay, so destination gallery section. There we go. And what else do we have? We have the travelers experience test section. Or I learned I might just call this testimonial section. It's easier that way. Testimonial section. Okay. And then we have the newsletter section. But the thing is, this newsletter section is actually like overlapping the footer, so it's still fine. We can have it like two separate components, then we can just do some CSS magic to make it overlap. It's no magic there actually, it's just we playing around with the margins, negative margins and stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to create a new file. I'll call this the newsletter section. And then finally we have the footer section. Okay, there we go. So these are all the things we will be needing, right? And yeah, and also we'll be needing a couple of cards, right? So it's good to just create the popular destination card and stuff like that. So let's do that. So here we're going to go in and do popular destination card .csx. Right, so we have the special offer card. Yeah, so the blog doesn't really need to be a card, it's just a single image, so it's fine. So top planner basically has a card, so we have to animate that card by the way, so it's fine. So let's do the top planner or trip planner, sorry. Trip planner card.csx. So this is a trip planner card, and we also have the destination gallery cards. Okay, so while we are that, we have the testimonial card. Very good, and there we have it. So these are all the relevant cards we've been needing for this project, and yeah, so that makes sense. So what we're going to do is to just zoom in and start building the actual thing, right? So yeah, so let's have it. So what I'm going to do though, I'm going to look for maybe a couple of other images because I want this hero section to be like an actual slider, right? So that whatever it is here can be controlled with this and this, but this can't just be our indicator. So for this, we'll actually be leveraging the Shadcn carousel. Right? I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm just going to open up the Shadcn like this, and then in here that you should be able to see a carousel. I think it's one of the new components added, right? So looking for it. So everywhere we have slider, no, not slider. It's actually a carousel. There we go, carousel. Yeah, so we can actually just use this, right? So I worked on a similar project where I explained to you guys, I think it was the previous video, where I explained to you guys how you can use this in a very systematic manner. Right, so this is something we'll still be doing in this lesson. So first off, we need to do the installation, and it's always very simple. So you just do a Shadcn to basically install that. So I'm just going to install it. Not that it's very important, but I think we'll get there. So it's just it's cool that we just install it right before time. So I'm just gonna paste that in there, and yeah, so that should be able to install the carousel. All right. So while that is actually doing its thing, we can go back to here, right? So let's make sure that our app is still running, which it is. So let's refresh all of this. Okay, very good. So now we need to obviously make sure that we're following the structure of those projects. So let's go to page. So everything in the main block, I'm going to take them all out. So I'm just going to do lithium main, and what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to do the nav bar. I'm going to do the hero section. Right, so let's put this side by side. Hero section, then we have the popular destination and special hour section. So popular, special first section. Then we have the blog section and trip planner. So we have destination gallery, and then we have the traveler's experience, which is testimonials, right? So let's do it. Destination gallery. Then we have the news testimonial section. Then we have the newsletter. Then we have the footer. Yeah, so this will be the structure in terms of all the required components we'll be needing for this and for this project. So these are all the critical areas of it. I'm just going to close out the entire thing, and then we can start building out what we're interested in, right? So yeah, so now the first thing there is actually the nav bar. As you can see, the nav bar is actually very much transparent. So the background is going to be in two forms, right? So the hero section, right, which is all of this, is going to basically have that background. So I'm just going to create a div here. So that's to be here. So that's to say that the navbar and the hero section are going to be the same background that we will be having, right? So let's call this the BG hero. Right, so we don't have it yet, so you might not see anything come up when you hover it. But here we can go to our tailwind.config and include that, right? So in here we can actually see under the extend block there's colors. What we want to add here is background image like that, and I'm just going to put comma right here, so it's okay, it doesn't complain. In here I'm going to include hero, and I'm just going to do URL, right? And what we want to do is /images/ where we have our hero setup, right? So we've not brought our assets into the project, so in the public folder I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to name that images, and in these images I'm just going to put in everything that we have in the downloads folder. I can do that with Ctrl+A and drag it into the images folder. So this is going to try to put everything within there, which is fine. And then I'm just going to look for, scan around and look for the hero image, which is this one. This is something we'll be needing in our image. We're going to copy that, put it there, hero image, sorry about that, that's PNG, right? Yeah, so if we go back to page and we hover this, you'll be able to see something good. So it's loading. You can see we can have BG hero is pointing to that image, right? So let's Let's refresh this. Okay, so nothing is coming up. That's weird. Okay. All right, so we basically have all of this. We might not really see it now because I don't think there's anything in the hero section yet. So hero sections need to be in full, I think in full width. But I don't know how large the navbar is. So from there we can deduce how large the hero section will be. Right. So yeah, let's go over the navbar and fix the navbar. Okay. So what do we need? We need a couple of links, which has to do with home, explore, travel, and pricing. Yes, so let's do that. So we have the home, we have the explore, we have the travel, we have the blog, and we have the pricing here. So these are everything that we have. And why all this are actually, I think, are very important is that you can just loop through them and then you have them all displayed, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to come in here and do links.map. So we have a link, we have some sort of index, and then we're going to just drag everything here into it. Then we can take this out, not really relevant. And in the index, you can add a key here and pass in your index. And this will be our link, right? Yeah, so at the end part of it, I think we will separate in between the logo, the actual logo, which you can find in images, then slash logo.png, not svg, png. And in the last part, we basically have a text, two buttons here. So one is obviously a link that shows login. So and the other one is actually like an actual button. I'm just going to do the main button. So if you've cloned from the started branch, you'll be having access to this button. It's already pre-built for you, and you just need to pass in the text prop. Text prop there is actually sign up. Right, and yeah, so we basically have its colors and so on. So we have to modify the classes to suit what we want. So BG is actually primary, which is okay, and then we need a way to worry about the roundedness and stuff. So the roundedness is like 12 pixel. So we have rounded 12 pixel. And then the width right here, right? So the width. So let's click on the org. I think this is the width. Yeah, I think 134. All right, so let's try that first. Okay, so now let's see what we have so far. Looking good, right? So now we can only see the logo because we want our background to come into the picture, which we don't have yet. So yeah, so what we want to do here is to make sure that everything is full screen, which is like 100 VH, and the width screen. Okay, so let's try that out. Okay, so this would be responsible for both those two that we have, right? So yeah, our background is not coming in, so let's investigate why that is. Right, so the images, then hero image.png. Let's try it again. Hero underscore image or JPG, actually not PNG, sorry about that. You can see here is JPG. Okay, so there we go. So we don't really need it to be scrollable. That's the last thing we need, right? So let's see. Yeah, so one other thing we'll do quickly is we need to set it no repeats. BG no repeats. That should be able to set the background repeat to no repeat. Nice. So in the navbar, we want to make sure that we don't have any background. So we just make it transparent. Right. So now everything should come out cleanly. Right. So now the thing is, on the hero part, this doesn't even look like the actual hero image. I might be wrong, but it's not it. So let's see why that is happening. Oh, we only have like the top parts of the image, right? So it's not stretching as expected. That's weird. Okay, could it be because we don't have anything in the hero section yet? That's not supposed to be the case though. Okay. Let me check around this and get back quickly. Okay, so yeah, the navbar has actually been adjusted, and something I've done is to play around with the BG bottom, right? So I think before we had BG cover, and the problem with this is there were lots of things, right? Lots of details missing, because the original image looks exactly like this. So we have the sky, and then we have the mountains, and then we have the river, the sea right here, right? So now the thing now is that will not work if we do it on a cover base. You can see all of those details are missing, right? And but then you can actually play around with a couple of other things. So we have BG top, right? You can do BG top, and BG top should change it a little bit so you just see the top part of the background, right? So now we want to see more of the bottom than the top. So what I'm going to do here is to change this to BG bottom, right? So doing that way basically gives us a clearer picture of how it is on the actual design, because we see more of the river right here, which is as expected. Right, so now what we want to change is the text. So everything needs to be white. So we have to make sure we change that. So I'm just going to go over to the navbar, and yeah, instead of text gray, I'm just going to do text white. Text white. Let's check it out. I should fix it. And this part, right? So okay, yes, that should do the white. And let's see, yeah, we don't really have like any kind of overlay or whatever, so it's very difficult to see through those things, I would say, right? But that's fine. But then I think it's actually bottom. We can do bottom right in the background. Let's go over to our navbar. That should be in the page right here. So PG bottom, PG right bottom. So let's try this out. Okay, yeah, looking good. Right, looking good. And okay, let's see if we can, maybe change this to center. Let's do PG center and see. So the PG center is actually not, it has to be bottom. So let's do PG left bottom. So we could just do left and right bottom and see how it looks. And I'm going to do right bottom. Okay, so those are the two that we have. So we have to choose the one that works best for our use case, right? Yes, so we have three options, or PG bottom. So I think PG bottom works best, right? Because it gives us like a lot of things to do. So we have the top. Let's see if we could do middle. Okay. So middle is like the PG center, I would say. PG left center. Oh, we don't have that. Okay, no we don't. So yeah, let's undo the last thing we have. So BG bottom should be able to fly with this. Okay, alright, very good. And one other thing is I'm need to be able to like create this underscore, right? This underline. So when we overwrite it, no, when we are on that page to be able to see the underline. So now the thing is, I'm not going to make this, dynamic. It's still going to be pretty much static. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like define a state. Okay, so we just set the index to 0 and just going to do one other thing. Wrap this in a div. So the index has to be on the div, which is fine. And this one was stain by3. Let's try it out. Okay, window gives some sort of PG primary. Okay, so yeah, let's play around with the height. From in here, I think the height is very small. Well, close to nothing. To be honest, it's just taking the struct width of 3 pixels. So let's do 2, maybe 1 actually. Okay, something like that. Yeah, something like that, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. So we can do this for the home tab, and we only show this if the current index is equal to the index that we have there. Then we can show this. Okay, so we just set the current index to the home part, so it's pretty much understandable. And this rubric and 20. So yeah, so let's change. Okay, we already have it as rubric as the default font size, isn't it? So let's check if that's what we did. Go to page layout, sorry. We already have a default set to rubric, so that's fine. And I'll go to navbar. Okay, so yeah, let's try to reduce the width of the that little thing. So let's do 12. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so I guess we have that now. So now the next thing is we need to be able to present the text right at the middle. And mind you, this text is actually of font type playfield display, right? And alright, so let's build out the the actual thing. So go to our arrow section, and what I'm going to do there is to create a div, and this div should contain this text, right? Alright, so let's copy this as well as a description. And the way this is going to work is we're just going to say, so we're using the playfield font, and this is already defined within the defined as part of our utility. So what we're going to do is to put it here. So yeah, so we're just going to do the same thing we did in the layout. If you remember, we just do this, right? So yeah, this is what we'll be doing, and we'll do this specifically for this. So we have playfair dot class name. Right, so there, that should be able to fix it. Okay, you can see it's coming as expected. Now we need to know the size, which is 84. Okay, so now the thing now is we need to make this taking 100 classes as well. So we can use we could use Cn. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's already part of Next.js utility. So we're just going to put it here. It's in our utilities, I think. So we already have the first class. We can concatenate that class, with other features. So what we're going to do at this stage is to say, okay, maybe we need the text to be 84 pixel. So let's try that out. Okay, good, coming as expected. We want to make it white. Okay. Okay, this has to be text. So normal text can be around maybe 40 pixel. For mobile, that's fine. Okay. So another thing, there's actually a broken line after unforgettable. So you can just apply a break there. Sorry about that. Very good. So yeah, we'll need to make sure that the leading is tight for this. So we'll do leading tight. So we can reduce the space in between. Nice. Okay. Alright, so now we need this little text. This is actually Rubik, by the way, so Rubik 24, so we could just do okay, so let's do, we're having text 24 in most places, which is cool. So I think we have text 24 and text 18 as font size. 24, yeah, we have quite 24 a lot. So let's put this within our Tailwind configuration. So you're just going to specify the font size. Okay, so let's do 28, and I think I was saying 18 too. Alright, so 28. Okay, so yeah, that should work. What about this one? Yeah, so we have a couple of 64s, mostly for the title. Let's arrange this properly in sending or descending order. I think our sending should be fine. That's fine. Yes, we could just do text 24 now. Override should come up with something good. Alright, so we're just going to make sure that this is white. Alright, let's make sure that we don't have any problem within the Tailwind config. I don't think so, we're good. Okay, so we'll change this. We just want to restart the server. All right, so I think we have it now, and it looks way bigger than expected. Let's see, this is Rubik 24. Yeah, it looks way bigger than the way it was here. So okay, let's go back. Maybe for normal, that would change it. I doubt. Not really. Okay. So it's just have a little bit of distancing. So you can use MT3. Okay. So now we need a way to craft this other part of the section. So now the thing is, this application, you notice there's actually a proper MX, a very consistent MX, right? So then has the spacing between here and here, which is like 182, right? So let's do it that way. Not really everything though, because of the way it's structured, right? And yeah, so we have 184 pixel. This would be for medium device. Maybe mobile can just be MX8. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the contents of the navigation. Right, so what I'm going to do, see MX, yeah, so you can put it here. Good ball. And yeah, there we go. I should do it. If it's mobile, it's just going to be different, I think. Yeah, so we could just make this like, a large something. Only an extra large, I think. Yeah, only an extra large. So I'll come into Hero and do extra large here as well. Okay, so yeah, that's better. Okay, so and then what next is to be able to do the same thing for here, right? So let's update this as well. Okay, yeah, so now we basically need a way to center this part, right? How do we go about that? So now the thing is, we could center it, but then I think before we do that, let's focus on this part, on this book now section. Okay, so I'm just going to create a different div. So BG will be white. So now we have a couple of input fields, and some of them are actually like, actual drop downs. Right, some of these are actual drop downs. And I'm going to go over the Shadcn to look for drop down. Okay, so we'll just look for like some sort of drop down right here. Right, so I think we should be having MP drop down. I don't know what that's called, but let's look for anyone we could use. And for a toggle, is it toggle we're looking for? I doubt. Okay, I think that is select. Boom, this is what we're looking for. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so we need that for a couple of things. 1, 2, 3, 4 input. So we could use this one for their drop downs. Right. Okay, so let's have it installed. Just going to grab it real quick and make a duplicate of this root. Okay, so this is going to install. So we'll just wait for it to, to do that. So while we wait, we can as well just grab the component I think we're interested in. You can grab it and let's put it here. Let's make sure React it's out. It's not really needed. And then we can do all of this. Okay, app is installed now. It is. So let's refresh that. Okay, we'll have to restart the server. That's crazy. Alright, so let's run the dev again. Okay, there you go. So now what we want to do is to make sure that the options are predefined, right? So we can actually like define our destinations, persons, and so on. So the way we go about that is by coming here and doing destinations. Right. So in these destinations, we can be able to do quite a lot of other things, right? So here we can specify maybe the actual value in as well as the display name, right? So you can do an array of object with value. So value here can actually just be Dubai. Here we can have a display name Dubai, right? Okay, so let's do for that country. Let's maybe do Korea. No, maybe a different country. Let's do Brazil. Let's make this a lowercase. Good. So let's just support those countries as destinations. Right. So for the we'll do the same thing I think for persons. Maybe we can just do 1, 2. As the case may be. Okay, and then we have check-in and check-out. Okay, make a copy of this. So check-in. So just copy this one. So it turned very good. And we can do the same thing for for checkout. So this one will just use a different mode, right? And that's fine. Okay, so this will be the structure of all the select we'll be using. So that way we don't need to worry about, okay, what are we doing in terms of the, you can let go of the label, it's not important, in terms of the items, right? So yes, so we can use this one. So the first one has to do with, let's come in here. Okay, we actually have our own label, by the way, so it's fine. Yeah, so what we can do is to obviously, so this will be select a destination, style destination, and then we can do destinations.map, right? Destination, then we have our index. So we can bring in one of the select item into it, and we're going to specify our key right in there. So the value will be, okay, instead of this now, just call this an item. So this will be item, the value, and item dot display name. Okay, so we can let go of all of this. Okay, there we go. And one other thing we'll do is to make sure we have the appropriate heading, right? And yeah, we can do that here. So put a select field right beneath it, and this first one is going to be destinations, and so yeah, this is the text that we have. That should be our custom gray. Okay, it's rubric, which is the default, it's fine. And text is actually 16, which is the normal text. Okay, so distancing between this and this, it's like, well, it's fair, but then we just need to remove the entire border around the input. Let's do border none. Okay, so that takes up the border. We're just interested in the bottom border, so let's include that one. Border bottom, and is good. I think it's coming up. We might not be able to see it, and maybe we can just do PY16 for now temporarily, so we can't really see it yet. Let's give it a color. So this is the color right there, which is black, right? And then we can come in here and do border bottom black. Okay, it's not coming up, as weird. Can we remove this part? Okay, so yeah, maybe we might want to say, okay, but why? Okay, maybe border top. Okay, so let's go over it again. Okay, so let's go at top 0. I think that fixes it. Well, X is 0. Let's see if that fixes it at all. Good. So yeah, we have a sort of border radius which we do not need. So I think this one we can just do rounded 0, rounded none, or something like that. Good. So that makes it flatter. So we're able to like achieve this. One other thing I think we do not need is this outline. It looks so weird, but it's very good for for accessibility, right? And I'm not sure if we should remove it, but it looks good. Yeah, you can just tab over and stuff, so it's okay. All right. So now let's get over to select Dubai. This should be Dubai. All right. So let's give it a little bit of margin. Okay, very good. So now we'll have to replicate something like this for person, check-in and check-out. Okay, so this will just select number of person. Okay, so we have the next one, check-in. Alright, so select check-in. We will select checkout, and this one should be select check-in. Okay, good. So you can see we need that kind of border for us to know if we are tapping over correctly. So that's fine. Okay, so I think we have all of those. The other part we do not have is this one, so we'll worry about that separately. And we have to make sure that they are all grouped, and the spacing should be 40 pixels. And let's do that. Okay, 40 pixels. So let's do, can do flex and go up 40 pixels. Let's try that out. Very good, very good, looking clean. And what else are we interested in? We're interested in this guy here. Okay, so now if I select this, I see that the font is actually fair, which is fair, right? Because what I can do is to come up with something else, I think, right? Separate div. So it's going to have the same height, as this one, but different background. So it's going to have BG primary and the same py whatever. And so we're going to have the, I don't know how good this will be, but let's see. We're going to have book now. Okay, and then we're going to have the little icon pointing to the right. So we have the book now, and we have the arrow right to specify the color. So this arrow right will be coming from Lucid React, right, like from here. So that's what this I'm using, but we're not using that. Okay, so this should give like clarity of what's expected in this case, and it's actually like broken down. So we're going to be having like a div here with 2 paragraphs, 1, 2. So book, and then now, right? Every text here will be white. Good. And we need to bring the CN in here, so you can do CN. Okay, so one other thing we'll do playfair, the class name, to convert both into playfair, and give it a size of 36 pixel. So this is for these two. Okay, so now we want to make sure we center this arrow in between the book now, right? Something like that. Very good. And the thing we'll do is to make sure that this one and this one are grouped, right? So we have to flex this. We can take one off. So we have to group them so that we have them side by side. So now on this one, we have some padding within it. So let's track the padding. Padding is actually like 20 pixel on both sides, I think. So what I'm going to do there is to come in here and do px 20 pixel. This will be good for mobile, for desktop. Mobile can just be px4. Okay, so now you can say this is good so far as expected. So we need to add some roundedness. So yeah, so the top, okay, this is 2020. Okay, so let's start from this one. So we have the rounded top left. What this top right? Top right. Oh yeah, let's do right. This is a combination of the top right and bottom right. So specify 20 pixel right in there. That should do that for us. And for this guy though, we have to do the same thing. So what's the spacing between here? Oh, the lots of spacing, I would say. A lot of it. 182, that's a lot. So now let's do it. We can do 34 MDPX32, not too much really. Okay, yeah, something like that is fine. Okay, yeah, I think that is it. This side does not have any, it doesn't have like any of this stuff. So yeah, I think we can have that. And now that's good. The distance between here and here is 170. Let me zoom in a bit so you guys can see it. 170 pixel. And I'm just going to do empty. This should be for medium. Empty can just be it for mobile. Okay, so now that is close to good. But now the thing is, we have to make sure that this guy stays in a centered format. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. Not really. Doesn't work like that. So, but then there should be a cooler way to do this. But let's see what we have so far. This is it. Or we could just play around with the actual margins. Right. We don't want this to go down. Okay. Okay, so let's do, that's the first test here. So let's do, okay, yeah, something like that. Something like that is fair, right? Okay, so not bad at all. This is how it is here, judging from what we have on design, right? So the only thing we're missing here, right here, is the is this shape by the side. So this will be absolutely positioned, so I can use it to control. These are control for the carousels, so we can have like lots of PG images, right? So we'll be implementing them in a bit, but then we need a way to be able to pass all of this in. So what I'm going to do is to obviously just add a couple of things, right? And I'll make this section very relative. Good. So I'll create a new div, and this div is going to contain all of these balls, right? And so we're going to have like 6 of them, but let's give them a class. Let's select this. So width and height is just 16 pixel, same design. So width, okay, 4, okay, height 4, rounded full. I should make it a cycle, and we can use BG primary for the first one. Okay, very good. That's it, coming in as expected. So we have to just duplicate this a bit, and what's the background color here? White. Sweet. So we can do that, but BG white. All right. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we need this arrow up and arrow down. Right, so let's do that. Okay, it's more like chevron. Let's look at it properly. Okay, let's see. Chevron down, chevron left. Yeah, chevron up, I think. Yeah, this should do it. This can be white, and chevron down. This can be the primary color, but I'll keep it as white for now. And this will be in its own div enclosure. And let's not forget to import the chevron down. Okay, very good. Okay, let's make sure the colors are coming in as expected. Not class name, but colors. Okay, and all of these though, we can group them if we want. So we check the spacing between each of the balls. 24 pixels. So the spacing between here and here are almost negligible, but let's see. So we can use it for 10. Okay, so now this is actually going to be, sorry about that, absolute. We can do right 4. Okay, then we can do top 40%, 40%. Okay, let's do item center here. Okay, and obviously give some sort of empty fold in the other part. And also each of these balls, when you click on them, sounds so weird when I use the word balls. Alright, so I think the cursor is going to be pointer. Right, and if I override, I should be able to see those, right? So we'll make all of this functional in a bit. Right, so let's do class name cursor. Let's include that here as well. Okay, so the same thing will happen there. So I think when you override, we should change the color to, to BG primary and over. Yeah, that would be a cool effect. On over, BG primary. Okay, so nice. Oh, BG, that would be so crazy. But not really. Maybe the BG, maybe the text. I don't know how that works, but let's see. Yeah, so an over might actually be very much different on how we position it. So let's leave it for now. And one other thing I did notice is there needs to be some sort of cool transitioning, not just abrupt change. Right, so let's select all of this. And we're going to do animate. Let's do spin. Hopefully I don't know what the hell that does, but let's see. Okay, not really. So what I wanted is a transition. So transition opacity. Right, so maybe delay of 300. Okay, so something like is in out with duration of 300 should be fine. Okay, you can see we have some cool kind of transition. Is it just me? The reason it's not coming out, that's weird. Let's rephrase that. What are we missing? This 300 milliseconds is in out, transition opacity. Okay, so I think this should happen when we overdo. Yeah, so when we over transitions. Okay, so now the thing is, we don't really, you can see it's coming in a way, but the thing now is we don't need it to behave like that, right? The transition shouldn't be of opacity, but it should be of background. Okay, so transition, we use this transition off for now. Okay, good. You can see it's coming in nice and clean. All right, so now let's see how far this is from the edge of it. This and this seems to be around, oops, that's difficult to know. Yeah, there needs to be some spacing. So what I'm going to do is to rewrite 16. Yeah, something like that, yeah. Okay, so the gap between these two seems to be too much in my implementation, so I have to reduce that a bit. Okay, actually just one pixel should work. Yeah, so no gap at all, still fine. Okay, so now we are done with the actual thing, right? So now we have to make this like responsive first before we implement the carousel, right? So let's make it as responsive as we can. So let's take this to a mobile setting and see what we currently have. It's going to be distorted, by the way, so that's fine. So now what we should have on mobile should be something similar to this, right, for both the navigation and then the hero section, right? So now let's see if we can fix it. Let's do XC, set a default, maybe responsive, like this. So first off, let's work on this one, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is to okay, so we have the BTY, that's this part. So MD flex row. Okay, so also with the book now. So the book now is expected to be at the bottom. All right, so let's fix that too. Alright, so let's check that out. Okay. Now the thing will be for mobile, this is how it looks. So we might want to change the configuration there. So first off, we don't need those too much aesthetics on mobile. So all the sidebar, carousel controls will be gone. So we'll remove it out. We'll do id in here and the block. Very good. So we have to make sure that this is full. This select. Okay, so here we want to make sure that the select is full, the width of the select. Good. There we go. And the roundedness, we have to take it to the bottom. Okay, very good. And then I think we have to spread this book now in whatever justify between. Very good. And book now has to be in one flex item. Good. So yeah, we can do flex and then maybe a little gap. Okay. Now you can see how responsive it is. This is okay, very good. Now we have to worry about the mobile version of it, right? In terms of the hamburger and stuff. So let's export this hamburger. Export, preview. It's actually a PNG, which is so weird, but let's export it. So you can delete all of this. We already have them exported. Oops. I have to undo that. Okay, so I'm going to take this to our assets. And go to the navbar part. Alright, so we're going to just do something similar. We're going to bring all of these links in here. So I think everything like this. Okay, let's copy it again. This div, looks like two divs there. Always do one bit at a time. Okay, so we have the login and the whatever. Let's put that in there. And also, this one is going to be straightforward. We have the images, and then we have the logo. Going to be a PNG. Okay, so here we have images hamburger.png. Okay, so let's see what we have in there. So BG is not going to be white, it's only going to be transparent. Okay, there we go. Good ball. Right, so now we need to give you some sort of background. Right, so now this will be a little bit difficult, I think, because here we have the background primary, but it's not really reflecting. Okay, maybe it could be because of the Z index. Okay, let's see. So we have the menu. Size 40. Refresh that. Okay, very good. And we have to make sure that the color is white. Very good. And so we have to worry about the PG transparent thing. So if there's a menu, we're doing PG primary. Alright, let's do PG red. 500 first. Let's text it out. Is it thin? Not working? That's weird. Oh, okay. The thing is, we're going to control it from there. That's interesting. So yeah, so the basic transparent will only work here, I think. Right, so we could just do BG transparent. Very good. Okay, so yeah, this is good, but the button now shouldn't be the same color as this. They didn't give us anything related, but let's see if we can make it a little bit darker. Yeah, I have this selected, and maybe a darker version of this will be something like this. Right, yeah, so let's use this as our background color. Okay, yeah, I think something like that would be cool. Or we could use it to BG primary, which is fine. In our button, we can now give it that background. I'm going to go grab it again. Boom. Yeah, I think it's better this way. So we now have the sign up, which is a little bit darker, so we can see it more. Okay, so we have the navigation all set up. We have the hero section all set up. So now let's see if there's a way for us to minimize the text. Okay, it's actually 40 in size. So let's see if we can break it down. Let's go back to the hero section. And then 40, that's good. It's exactly 40 the way I have it. So now this distance in between this and this is around 100. Let's see if we could do the same here. Yeah, something like that. actually just be a padding, really, to be honest. Margin is destructive. Okay. So I was thinking if we just do each screen, this is experimental. Let's see. I want it to be full screen. Not really. Not really. Let's take it back. Okay. For now, we have this thing a little bit rounded. There's some spacing in between. Okay, so let's do that. Alright, so we have that. And so now what I want to do, to be honest, is in here, I need a way to be able to, add MX4. Let's try this out. Good ball. And the roundedness is just going to be 16. It's just going to be 16, and that will be rounded 4, I think. Okay, so yeah, so this rounded 16 would be on top, I think. So yeah, so we need to put it in the order elements. And I think that should be here. Okay. Screen. That's weird. Yeah, so I think the background on mobile, we may want to like modify it a bit. Right, so we have like everything that is needed at this stage, but just a few things that is not right, and that is likely very different. Right, so now we need ways to make sure that this one grows to the bottom. Okay, so let's do that. Very good. That will stretch it. So So this will only be relevant, I think, for medium screens, right? That means for in your medium screen, we can do all of this, and obviously go to the hero section and do padding bottom 16, right. Not sure how good that would be, but let's do margin bottom. Very good. So now we should be able to have something similar like this, right? And let's open this again. Okay, there we go. This is how it will be here. So let's make sure that nothing has been distorted in there. Yeah, a lot of things has been distorted, but just a basic one. So this part. So let's look for a way to fix it. Okay. Let's go back to the root section. Is it still there? Okay, let's look for anything like MX or something. PX 32. Okay, so was there any margin? There was no margin. That's strange. How are we not having that little space? Okay. I think quite a lot happened. Let's fix this first, then we'll look into that one and fix. Okay, in here, good. So MX4, MX0 for medium devices, good. The roundedness here for the bottom is not needed in desktop. So let's look for rounded bottom, rounded right. So rounded bottom is not needed in medium. Bottom none. Okay. Obviously rounded bottom left none. Okay, bottom left. Very good. So now we still have what is needed, and let's check this out. Very good. We have it very responsive. This should only happen when we have like an extra large, device. Okay, so this one will just be hidden, only available on extra large. Okay, very good. That makes it very responsive. And yeah, one other thing I would like to do is to break this into like a separate line. Okay. All right, so let's test this one more time. This mobile, boom, nice. So this is the navigation, coming as expected. This is the desktop view, nice. Right, I think with this we've actually come to the end of the navigation in the hero section. So up next, we'll actually be moving into a more fun part, right? The popular destination section. All right, yeah. So for those basically like wondering how we're able to put the the custom carousel together is I'm just going to use this medium to explain the code itself, right? So what we're going to do is going to be very much straightforward. So what we have here is a way for us to be able to control it. So I think I'll go over to the actual code itself. This is what does the bulk of the job, right? So I'll change this to code and paste it in here. So we're going to use this to basically like illustrate what we're doing here. Okay, and let's put the code and then paste it. Okay, there we go. So we can enlarge it. Good, smooth. So now this is one part, and the other part has to do with the handlers, right? So let me get you a couple of the handlers we're using, and there you go. Just gonna copy it and change this to code and paste it in. Very good. So I think with this I can be able to explain to you how we are able to manage the custom carousel. Okay, so we're going to start from the left. From the left part, you can see what we have here is basically a very little kind of function that you already know how it works. So let me see if there's a way to basically put this to JavaScript. And JavaScript, good. Okay, so now you can actually see that what we're using the set timeout, and we're actually basing it off of the time span of like every 10 seconds. So this 10,000 milliseconds, which equate to 10 seconds. So now what we're going to do, we need this timeout ID because we can use this to subsequently clear out the timer if we want. So now the way it works is we already have a couple of pages. I'm just going to come here and draw them around here. We already have a couple of images. Let's see, this is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one, right? So now what I want to do is to be able to navigate from this image to say, okay, I want to move from here to here, and from here I want to move on to here. All right, let me take that out. Let me take this one out. Okay, minimize that a bit. Very good, right? I'm just going to take this one and very good and take it here. So now the way this works is very similar with what you already know, right? So here we'll just say slide 1, and here we can say slide 2, and this will be slide 3. Sorry about that. Slide 3. Okay, so yeah, so we have all these slides, and from the looks of it, there's a slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3, right? Just as we basically have them. And for each of these slides, we already know that the index is actually starting from 0. So we're going to have 0, 1, and I think 2 respectively. Put it here. So now what we want to do is the indexes will actually come up when we are, worrying about the arrow click up and so on, right? So now, as I was explaining earlier, the timeout ID is what we're using to, to identify this timeout function here. So this timeout function is meant to run in every 10 seconds, right? So while we have a couple of checks here, we check if the current index is equal to 2, right? We already know that we have we have 3 slides, 3 background images. So if it's equal to 2, that means we are in the last part of things, right? Which is this slide 3. What I want to do is I want to start, since it's actually autoplay is set to true by default. So if we are on the last slide, we want to be able to start all over from the first slide again. So you can see if the current index is equal to 2, we just set it and make sure that its current index now is now equal to 0. So this will start all over again and continue the process without ever ending. So this only happens when you mount and when when you've not been able to trigger the undo arrow up click or the undo arrow bottom click. Right, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So then if this is not the case, if the index is say maybe 0 or 1, as the case may be, So you're going to run this function. So you can say we have the return statement here. Return statement actually terminates the scope of that function, right? So everything about here is just going to terminate after setting this to 0. Okay, so after that, we have a different thing to worry about. To say, okay, if the index is 0 or 1, we want to set the current index to that index, the current index plus 1. For example, if it's the current index is actually say 0, if we run this function in the next 10 seconds, it's going to set it to 1, right? So current index becomes 1. So if it runs the next 10 seconds as well, it's going to set it to 2, like that. So when it gets to 2, when it's running the next 10 seconds, it's going to, trigger this, right? And set it to 0 and start all over again. Right, so this is how we're able to achieve the custom carousel. Most of the time, it might not be really straightforward, but if you look at it quite critically, you see how it goes, right? Okay, so now if you come down a bit, we have a different setup here, right? Now we have a different state we're using to manage, the autoplay. So now the state is something like this. I'll just put it here. This is actually const. Okay. Everything needs to be in the code block, by the way. So we are okay. So here we basically have this, and we have use state. Autoplay is just going to be true by default. Yeah, this is true. We're gonna just do this first because we're not pausing it, by default. So the first thing here is going to be pause autoplay. Okay, so let's see if we can enlarge this a bit to be in one line. Good. Take this down a bit, take this down. Very good. So now, this is actually a condition to say that, autoplay is currently enabled. We just want to know that, okay, if you want to pause it, you can use this state to control it. So in the case of pause autoplay, we want to clear the timeout because we don't want to run into a situation of, of it having some sort of, jerky attitude or behavior, right? So what we normally do is to say, okay, if the pause autoplay, if it is actually paused, we clear the timeout, right? And also we clear the timeout when the component on mount. So these are actually the two conditions where we clear timeout, right? So I think I should also just go over to our project again. Yeah, it got terminated. So I'm just going to restart, the server that we have. I'm just going to run the dev server. So this should be able to trigger up the server we already have. And yeah, it's going to take a while, just some few seconds. And also, one other part I would like to explain is the part where we have the dependency array. So you can say the two things that are really relevant here is the current index, and also the post autoplay, right? So why we actually have all of this here is there are situations, right? So this one is the first one, and this is the second one, right? So what we have both here is there are cases where where we might not be able to, we want to always get the real values of this, the up-to-date value, and the only way we can do that is by passing this value here. That is to say that whenever this value changes, we render this component, right? So this happens for both the current index and the post autoplay, right? Yeah, so I think with that, you basically have like a critical understanding of how we work with this timeout and how we clear it out. So the other part that I would love us to basically consider is this part, right? See, undo arrow click up. So this is actually very relevant, I think, to the other part. Let me just open this up. This will still be loading on the background. That's fine. Okay, yeah, there we go. So now when a user actually clicks the arrow up button, what we want to do is to first of all disable the autoplay, right? By pausing it, by setting pause to true, that should be able to disable the autoplay. And when we don't have the autoplay anymore, we can be able to focus more on, on moving the actual elements, right? So you can click on button, so this is going to move it. You can click on this one and so on. So now the thing now is, I'm just going to go back. So once we have it disabled, we can play around with the actual index, right? So now if the arrow is going up, what we want to do is that first of all we check that it's not in the last index. Right, so if it's in the last index, we set it to 0. Just the same thing we did around here, if you remember, right here. So it's very similar. So first check for the current index. If it is not equal to the last slide, which is on index 2, if it is, we set it to 0. If it is not, we just want to increment it by doing something like current index plus 1. So this will just make it to move from, say, from slide 1 to slide 2 and so on, right? So I think we can just change the color here so it's a little bit understandable. All right, so this is actually the movement between the slide. So this current index plus 1 actually takes care of this, right? So it moves from here to here and to here, right? So when it gets here, which is index 2, we can play around with it by setting it back to 0 and so on. So this just creates some sort of, a continuous flow, right? And yeah, I hope you were able to get that. So now the similar thing we do for this one, which is arrow button. So the arrow button click, what we'll first of all do is I think we'll pause the autoplay. Pausing the autoplay will not, sometimes we know that we are setting index in two different places. First of all, we are setting it in the set timeout, and then we are setting it when you click on this button, right? So you have to first of all, pause the autoplay so that you can have the desired behavior. Because if you have this enabled, you're going to have this the set index from the timeout triggering at the same time the one from the bottom click triggering. So that's going to lead to some sort of collision and confusion. So we don't want that. So that's first why we will basically try to pause the autoplay. So after that, what we now do is we set the current index. We do something similar. We check if it is actually, in the very beginning, right? We check if it's the first slide. So if it is first slide, we set it to the last one, right? We set it to the last one. And why we are doing it that way is, for example, we are subtracting from here, right? We subtract the current index from 1. We don't want a situation where we run into negatives, right? So that's why if it's actually in the last, if the current index is at the very beginning, right? So the very next thing we are doing is to obviously, just set it to the last one, right? Then we can be able to say, okay, if it is not, we want to just be removing 1 from the value, right? So that's why if I come here and I do something like this, you can see what it did was to basically just take it to 0 index 2, right? And do it again, it's just going to, behave in a very similar manner, right? So the same thing happens when you do this, but in a very much reverse order when you do the click up, right? Yeah, so I think with that, basically have a critical understanding of how we handle the arrow up click as well as the bottom. Yeah, so yes, this is background, I would say. So yeah, let's go to your page. So here we have navbar, we have the hero section. So now the thing is, we need a way to be able to, pass in different background images, right? And yeah, so I think everything here will actually be a carousel, mostly around the hero. This will be tricky a bit, but let's see. Okay. So I think what we're actually just like changing every second or so will be the image, right? We'll build the image. So why use a carousel if we could use something else? Okay, we can have a couple of background images. So let's pick some from pixels. Let's check pixels. Traveler, for example. Then we could get some free images. Okay, so this is good. The one is a little bit darker, by the way, so let's see. Okay, so let's grab this one. And that will do. Maybe we could grab this one. That's two, extra two, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do just accept our cookies, free download, original, just download it, doesn't matter. And same here, right? Let's look. Okay. All right. So now we have to consider how large they are, and obviously, try to modify the size using Squash. And you're gonna go to downloads, paste it in there. Okay, it's trying to reduce the size for us. Here we go. Nothing was reduced, just a bit, tiny bit. Just a tiny bit that is not worth it, so I can let that go. Let's try this one out. If it's still the same, we might just have to leave it as is. Still doing the conversion 1.4. Just almost the same, so it doesn't really matter. So I can just name this BG02 BG03, right? All right, let's put them in here. Since the filling has this like it's a background image, so what I will do, okay, so this is the first one. I just call this 02, 03, right? So this BG0. Okay, so BG03. So now let's try to change what we have. Let's do 02 and see what we'll get. It looks pixelated for some weird reason. Maybe we need a better image. So before that, let's do 3. See how good the third one is. Yeah, this looks so good, to be honest. So 3 is good, but we have to change the other one. Okay, the one with the darker, yeah, something like this. This should be good as well. Let's download this. So let's check out PG04. It's not coming through. That's weird. It's PG04.jpg. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, something like that is good. Okay, so yeah, so these are the different things I think we might be trying to move around, right? So I'm just going to look for ways for us to achieve that and get back quickly. Okay, so what I'm doing now is instead of of using the carousel approach, so I just want to see if there's a way we could run this much more manually. Then we can control it by the level of indexes that we have. So what I've done, I've set up like a simple use effect. We have a certain tower inside that runs every 1 second, and then we basically just update the index. So now we have 3 images. What I want to do is I want to kind of enable a continuous play. That way, if the third image should be of index 2, which in JavaScript everything basically just starts from index 0. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2. 2 should be the last one. And if it's the last one, I want to set the index back to 0 so we can continue over and over again. So from what you see here, it's a never-ending play effect, right? So if the current index is actually equal to 1, we go to our Tailwind configuration, we use the first one. We use the arrow, right? We use the arrow, right? So we can now do else sf, right? So current index is equal to 2. Yeah, so you just return. So return arrow 4, right? And then we return arrow 3, the other one. So I think let's make it even consistent. This should be 2, and the other one should be 3, so it's fine. So it's going to be arrow 2 and s. So we're going to return arrow 3. Let's see how far this simple approach will take us. So I'm just going to do this and put it here. So we're not going to have any something here, right? And so if it's actually equal to, I think it's 0, right? 2. What about 1? Yeah. So that's 1. So this is 0 index 0 1. Yeah, this should be 1. That is the second one, should give us this, and lastly we'll have this as the third one. So yeah, this should be the proper behavior. And what I'm going to do now is to obviously wrap this in an object notation. And instead of having this here, we just want to do redundant string approach. Let's put this here so we can be able to use JavaScript variable within it. Yeah, so let's call that function. Hopefully it gives us a very good background. Let's see. Let's refresh it. Okay, no, we're not getting anything. Okay. Oh, okay. So something is missing, and that has to do with the BG. Alright, so BG and BG. Since we're actually maintaining a Tailwind class. Right, so let's check our console. Okay, so nothing really changes. You might actually ask why is that? So what I think is going on is that this does not really change with this interval. Yeah, so let's add it here as part of the dependency array. Let's see if it changes. Let's refresh it. Okay, so we have a couple of rendering every second, but it's not really like smooth, right? So we need this to be a little bit smoother and not just run in a very annoying manner. So we'll take this off now, right? Let's take that off. Let's refresh it. So every second it sets it to 0, which is very weird. Let's do 5 seconds. No, 1 second is fine for testing purposes. Okay, yeah, so let's see. Why that is. Okay, so we have this within this set interval block. No, I never wanted to put it there, but here should just be fine. Okay, so every second is actually changing, which is good. But the thing is, it doesn't update, which is bad. Okay, so let's try this out and refresh it. Okay, so setting a kind of a larger time gives us enough time for it to really like change, right? Which is a good thing. Okay, so now the thing is, we've been able to achieve this using the set timeout method. It seems to actually gives a much more better result than using set interval. Because right now you can see we move on from 0 to 1, so the next 10 seconds is going to increment to 2, right? And since it's going to start all over again and give us 0, just like that. So we just wait for it to pop up 0, you can see. So this way we can actually control what we have, right? Which is a good thing. Alright, so I think in addition we're going to add a couple or remove from here. So we have like 3 images. So maybe we might want to like remove some of these indicators since we don't need them anymore. So just make sure that it's 3 at a time. So what I will do is to obviously go over to here and remove these 2, right? That should give us 3. Very good. So now we want to make sure that whatever we have is in sync with what is really expected here. So the thing I don't like about this approach is that whenever the index changes, it's going to render the entire component, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to group these 2 into a component of its own and have that rendering take place within that component. Right here. So likely what I would do is to come to maybe sections, right, and create a new file, probably just call it grouped hero section. So in the group hero section, what we're going to include there is obviously these 2 for starters. Grouped hero section, GUR. So we'll import the navbar, we'll import the hero section. So this function, we have to bring it in from here. Okay, these 2 as a matter of fact. These 2 for now. We take it in here. Alright, and then what else? The current index, we can take this from the prop. And then we should have the use effect and the set whatever from the props, iProp. Current index is number, set whatever is actually a value of a number, and then it returns void. All right, good. So we return a div like this, right? But still complaining. Let's see why that is. Okay, looking good so far. Is anything breaking? Okay, that's not a problem then. Let's see what's going on. Something seems to be wrong here, but I can't point my finger on it. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this thing should be wrapped around like this, I think. Good. Okay, so this is what we have for this grouped arrow section. So now you can use the use client here, which is fine. Right, so we have this state, we can pass it into the grouped arrow section component. And when we hover over this, we need the current index in the whatever, right? So let's do that. And also we have the set current index. All right. So yeah, and then with that we have like a very nice picture of what we are aiming at. So yeah, we can as well just put this one around here. Good. So yeah, let's see if we still have everything still coming in nice and clean. And let's wait if it's going to change. If it's changing, that means everything is still working as expected. Very good. Okay, so let's go to grouped arrow section. We have all of this. And the thing we want to do now is to control what we have within the arrow section. So we're going to put these two here, I think. So I'm going to open this up and put the hypers there. Let's destructure it. Let's set current index. So I perp. Good. So put those props there, since we are going to be needing them within the arrow section. So the current index now will be very interesting, right? So what I want to do, I already know that there are three, is the kind of background we want to give to it, right? So what I'm going to do is maybe I'll just put all of this within a JavaScript whatever. I'll do cn to wrap it around, and in here I'm just going to give it the background that it needs. So if the current index is equal to 0, yeah, give us PG primary. So we can take this off from here, which is fine. So we're going to replicate the same thing around this and this. So then we have to obviously close it out. With this, yeah, something like that. So this has to be current index of 1, and this has to be current index of 2. So yeah, so we just have like, BG white there by default. Okay, so let's see if it moves. Okay, it's actually very moving. That's good. Very good. Very good. So we're able to control that. So let's see if we can control with these arrows. So what we're going to do is very straightforward. We already have the set current index, right? And I'll just include an on-click handler within there. So we're going to be having set current index +1. Right, so now we have to be very careful here. If the current index is equal to 2 already, it has to be set it to 0, else just do +1, something like that. So we'll do the same thing for the down. If the current index is equal to 2, okay, if it's equal to 2, not really, that's a bad approach. So what I want to do for reducing it, so if it's equal to 0, so we want to take it to 2. Here we just want to do current index -1, something like that. I doubt if that works, but let's see. Okay, that's really awesome, to be honest. Okay, so we have a kind of pattern we've already set, right? And the problem with this approach is we need to clear the interval when we want to bring this up, right? And doing that, we have to go in here, and this is not really an interval, it's actually a set timeout, which is a different thing. Okay, so let's look for a way to clear out, a timeout function, to exit out of it, and then we can worry. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think I found a way to basically clear out the timeouts that we have. So now the thing is, we could do set a timeout ID, and then we'll clear it out on mount, but then we need a state to manage that, right? So yeah, I'll just add a state here. Disable clear timeout, clear autoplay, or pause. Yeah, so by default we're just going to not pause it, so it's going to be false. But then we can control the state within the error section if we want, which we'll be doing. And also, if this one is true, right? So it is true. We already have a timeout ID. So if this is true, we just want to clear timeout by passing out the timeout ID. Nice. So let's put that log there as a reminder. Okay, so let's go back to the error section. We have this set pause autoplay. boolean. Okay, so whatever we have here, we can just abstract it into a separate function, which we'll be doing now. The first one is going to handle arrow up click. So first off, we want to make sure that we set this to true, so disable autoplay, and also at the same time we can pass this in. Okay, that would be for arrow up. Very good. So let's do it for arrow bottom. Okay, so I think what next is the popular destinations part. I already said something similar, that we want a situation where we can reuse the headers. So we'll be making the headers a reusable component. And yeah, so I'm just going to build that and add it to maybe common. So yeah, come in here and just change this to section. And another thing I would do is going to come in here, put a new file, and this is going to be our header.tsx. Okay, so the header is going to take in the title, description, boom, and that will be all right, honestly. Right. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, we'll define the interface, and this is going to be iprop, and we have the title already. It's going to be a string, and then we have our description. Right, and in here we can destructure to title, description, iprop. Okay, good. So now we basically have a couple of things, or what I would do, I will add an extra prop and do a long underline. This would be a boolean, right? So it will be true by default. We can make it optional. And good. Okay, so then we just need to put these guys together, I think. So in some cases we have this like stuff here, right? I don't know if it's wise for us to do that here, but yeah, I think it depends. It really depends. So we're going to ignore it and just make this header only, because this is actually part of whatever we have going on in the images cards. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and the first one is going to be the title, and just going to close that out. and we're going to add a div like this. So the div here is going to be of width. Let's check out the width of this guy. 356. I'll just do 300. It's fine. All right. So yeah, BG primary. And we can do a couple of things here. So let's do maybe 100 for the short one. This is the long one. And this would be the short one, yeah? So we have the title. And then we have the line. And then we should have, I don't know, description, right? So let's put it here. Okay, so let's type what we have. So the title is Playfair font. So we'll do CN. We'll do Playfair. The class name. So we import the CN from utilities. And what we'll be needing now is the text size. And that's going to be 64. That's 64 pixels. So maybe in of that, maybe in smaller screens, we could do 30 pixels. I hope that works. And also, in here we can just do MY4 to give a space in between it. Okay, so I think that makes sense. Not completely. So this is actually a gray text. So this text custom gray. And then yeah, that's cool. Okay, so now the header, we can bring it into the popular destination. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a two div spot within a parent div. Yeah, so this first I can have the header. No, header. So we have the popular destination. Then we have some description as this. Right, and yeah, so we have this long whatever. Okay, so we can pass that in, and let's see what we have. Boom, it looks good. Looks so good. Maybe the spacing in the top part, maybe we'll make a run to reduce that a bit. Okay, yeah, something like that. Very good. Okay, now we have a kind of a reusable component. We can be able to, we can use to handle all the headers. And yeah, that's good. And one other thing I think we'll do, we can easily just export this shape. View, export. So yeah, we can just call this left. So that will be our left icon. And this should be the right one. Okay, we'll convert this to an underscore. Sorry about that, not an underline. And I move this into here. Good. Okay. All right. So let's move this. Okay. So we want to make sure they are on the same baseline. And the next thing we do is to obviously just bring them in. Right. They're like images. Okay. So let's do img specify the source. Okay, so let's have our alt right here. This would be the left icon, and so I like to put this in separate div. So this one would be the right icon. All right, so we have this under slash images and slash. Okay, left underscore icon. So similarly, we'll do the same thing for the right one. Okay, and let's see if something comes out. Good, as expected. So now in the container, we're just going to flex it, center it, give it a gap of 4. Let's see how wide that is. That's like 40 pixel. Right, so gap will specify a 40 pixel right in there. And also we have to make sure we separate this flex justify between items baseline. Okay, items baseline or just items end. Very good. Okay, so yeah, I think that we are good on this first part. One other thing we'll just do to mimic it as an actual button, we can just come here and make sure that on overstate cursor will be pointer. Very good. Okay, so now we already have that, which is a good thing. Okay, which is a good thing. And the next thing we'll do is to start working on these cards, right? So we already have the popular destination card. We just have to build them out, right? So first of all, we'll define the data, and the way that works is I can come here and just do const data. Take a be an array of objects and title. So maybe we can just copy it from here. We have the location. Alright, so yeah, I think this will be for the first one. Yeah, so let's do something similar for the second card. Millennium Bridge. Oh, sorry. Oops. Copy that again. And I'll paste it right in here. Oh, no. Lost track of it again. Okay, and then this is the location. So let's go over to the third one. Reactor bridge. Okay, so we have the Reactor bridge, and that's for Italy. And also we have this other guy, right? And this is going to be kind of draggable something, but I think we can make do with the 3 that we have. We're not really building out the feature, so it's fine. So yeah, we can just work with these 3. It's easy. And All right. So let's go over to the popular destination card. Yeah, so let's do the interface. So they have the iProp. And the two things that the interface takes in is the title and then the location. Right. And coming in the title, location, iProp. Okay. So now, the way we want to work with this is we could use a background image, but at the same time we could just use it like an actual image. So okay, so in here we can come in and just do class relative. So whatever text we have within here would be of absolute configuration. So we have, see, the font of this is actually Playfair. Why this one is Rubik? Okay, so let's see. And so we have the title, then we have the location. So now let's start out with this one. So we have the CN, we just have to import it from a library. And so we have the Playfair, the class name. So let's control the height of this guy. That's 28. Font medium. Okay. Yeah, so for the location, this is, I think it's very straightforward. And text white, let's not forget that. So what we're going to do is, this is a Rubik regular 24. Pixel. And also this location has an icon. And let's see if we can get this from Lucid React. Locate icon. I think that should be it. And let's specify color white. Add a little space there. And this now needs to be a div. Okay. Alright. So one other thing we will have is this path can just be absolute, and bottom can be 8, left can be 4, right? So there's a typo with the name popular destination. There's no U there, so take it out. And I'm just going to rename it right here. Good. Okay, so now we have the icon, we have the location. So the spacing now is like 17 pixel. Not like 4 or something. 16 pixel. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's use them. Let's start using this now. So passing the key as the index. So let's have it imported. Good. So let's see what we have now. Okay, so let's go back in here. Oh, this is not beative, but relative. Okay, so let's say, very good. So here one can do slash. Oh, they basically have their own different image. So we'll do image URL. So yeah, this should be around DG or something like that. So DG underscore 1 dot JPG. Okay, so let's do 2 and 3 for the other ones. Okay, so let's see. Well, Lucid React is kind of wrong. This is not the kind of location we're looking for. So let's go to the lucid.dev and for location icon or locate this one. Oh, mapping, that's good. Okay, so we just needed mapping. Very good, so we can remove this. Alright, very good. And also you can flex this out. Center, very good. And also this location has to be text white. Alright, very good. So that will basically have all of our cards, which is not a big deal. So now we have to play around with the height of this container. So from here you can see it's actually like, let's reset this please. So the height here is actually 661. Right, so 661 is the height. So let's do that. Seems to be too much, to be honest. It's very large here as well. Okay, let's do the roundedness, 26. Okay, maybe we can pass that over here. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so in the outer container, we can play around with this and just do flex, justify between. So actually it's not justified between, it's just like, it's just there with its gap. So just a gap of 4. Okay. And when we do the padding on both sides, that should just go. So I'm going to replicate this, maybe just adding the same this again to make it all filled. Very good. So when we add the spacing to either side, it's just going to go off. Okay. Okay, so let's try it out. So things like that, I like to use grid, to be honest, because you can control it more. So we have grid and grid columns 1, medium, grid columns 2. What am I spelling? That's so weird. So yeah, I think a large part. Yeah, this one can house the 4 one. Very good. Very good. See how good that is. Okay, so we could do 4 here and maybe extra large 4. This one can be 3. Yeah, so large is somewhere around here, 3. Then when it's large, we do 4. Good. Okay, so one other thing we'll do is to obviously give it the padding to the top, which is like 100 pixel. So we're going to come into this section, we wrap it in a div and put it right in here. So we're just going to do empty. So let's see how that is. Okay, not really, this is not coming here. This one will be coming inside of here. Okay, we might want to reduce this for mobile. We can do empty 16. Okay. Yeah, so I think with that we are good. So the other thing I think we might be needing is a pattern on the side, right? Which is like 182. So that is very much easy to do. We can go over to the page, I think. Let me see if I still have power. I still have quite a lot. We'll go to the page, and what we want to do here is to do px. Okay, like what I saw here was around 182. Let's just do 100, please. 182 pixel. So normal px could just be around 4 for mobile. This one should be for extra large. Okay, and this one between here and here is 140. Okay, so just a padding top basically. So not really here, it's not possible to put in stuff like this within a component, but externally, right? So here we could do is in here, so we could do okay, so much you can do it here. Make it smaller on smaller screens. Very good. So now I think we have like a clear picture of the popular destinations part, right? So now we can actually go into the other section, which is the special offer point of things.